this. So, tell me about your, why are you running for Congress?
To restore liberty, mostly.
Okay. In District 10, tough district with Barbara Comstock has been there and is a formidable candidate. You would be running as an independent?
Right.
Yeah. The state website doesn't have your information yet listed, but tell me what you've done in terms of applying.
I gathered 1,000 signatures and turned them in.
Okay, great. What can you tell me about the Huffington Post article that reported that you had some websites about pedophilia?
That's true.
That's true. Okay. It says that you admit to being a pedophile.
Yeah, that part's not true.
That's not true.
I don't identify that way.
Okay. There's a lot of really strong statements and accusations made in that article. It also says that you enjoy or that advocate sex with children.
I don't know about advocate. I mean, it's more like that's just locker room talk.
Oh. What do you think about pedophilia?
I'm for abolishing the age of the marriageable age. Like, I don't think there should be a minimum age for marriage. Like, in recent years, they've been increasing that. You know, Delaware's increased it to 18 now. But I think it's serving a counterproductive purpose. I think early marriage is actually better for families, and I think fathers should be allowed to make those decisions rather than the state coming in.
What about relations? What about sexual relations with your own children?
Like, I would favor like legalizing incest.
Why is that?
Just because personal freedom. You know, I think that the state should not interfere with people's decisions. You know, like if people were to say, well, the genetic quality might not be as good if people inbreed, they could say the same thing about a lot of people who have bad genetics that they shouldn't be passing on. You know, these days we have genetic tests. We can tell what kind of things people have in their genes that might be a risk factor, but they're still allowed to breed whenever they want.
What about the children's rights? Wouldn't that be rape to have sex with a child?
Well, like with girls, I mean, I just believe that it should be for fathers to make those decisions. I believe in a patriarchal order.
Have you ever had sex with your daughter?
No.
Do you want to?
Yes.
Where is your daughter?
Colorado.
Oh. Why is that?
Why is what?
You lost custody of your child, right? I'm not sure. That's what the article reported.
I did, yeah.
Do you not think that these views are a little out of whack with our general society and views of child protection?
Yeah, but that's what dissidents come in to do, is try to change the status quo.
Wouldn't that be really dangerous for children?
I don't see how we know that. Like, there have been some cases. There was a girl named Eunice Winstead in Tennessee many years ago. I think she got married at around the age of 9, and she had a successful family. She had several kids, and her husband was able to support her and all that. So, and she seems, you know, there were newspaper accounts of it at the time. So there have been some cases where early marriage has been successful.
What about how young do you think it would be okay to have sex with a child? How young could a child be?
I think it's for each family to decide.
And you don't find anything wrong with that?
I mean, it's not for me to intrude on another family and tell them what they should do. There needs to be autonomy, because different families need to have the right to experiment with their own culture, their own traditions, their own ways, rather than have the state come in. You know, there are too many cases now. CPS is seizing people's kids based on very minor things where they've deviated from a norm, like they let their kids play out in the yard too long.
Well, but children are human beings. They're not property. What about their protection?
The law doesn't treat them as having the full rights of adults.
Yeah, but they're still humans. with rights.
Yeah, but the government is making a decision for them. It's saying, okay, we're going to come in and decide what's best for you.
Yeah.
Well, how do you know that's what's best?
Why would you think it would be best for a child to have sex with an adult?
I would say that the science is not really conclusive on that. And there have been reports, people have grown up and said, okay, when I was a kid this happened and I wasn't harmed by it.
Did it ever happen to you?
No. But people have, these reports have surfaced and people always explain it away and say, well, this person is rationalizing what happened when they were a kid because they don't want to confront the reality that they were abused. But a lot of times they'll say, well, I was fine with it when it happened, but then society told me that what happened was wrong and now I feel traumatized. Well, that was society that actually caused them to reinterpret it that way.
Well, so when your daughter was living here, you never experimented?
She was not living with me.
Oh, okay, never. Okay. What about neighbor children?
I just didn't have an interest, really. I
Really?
mean, like, I don't know. Was not in that situation.
Really? Well, is it something you'd be interested in if you had a neighbor child living around here that...
I don't think about that.
Well, people might call you a predator if you were in fact looking at children as potential sexual partners. Do you consider yourself a predator?
I don't prey on anyone.
No? Okay.
I don't even really pay attention to what's going on.
Tell me what, I know last year you were in the news for your views on women. What about rape and women? What about raping your wife?
That didn't happen.
Okay. But you think it's okay? I mean, what do you think about rape?
I think that in a marriage, if the law says that a wife can accuse her husband of rape, that puts him in a situation where he can be falsely accused, and that's one of the reasons, when they were talking about instituting laws against marital rape, that was one of the arguments that legislators made against making that change, was they said there were going to be a lot of false accusations, and that's exactly what happened. It doesn't come up in the criminal courts, it comes up in the family courts.
It seems like when you think about your rights, you're only looking at your rights. You're not looking at the rights of your wife or children who might be in your way, or you might perceive as that you want to have sex with them.
Yeah, well, the thing about that is the current system is not working very well.
Yeah, because a lot of children are being preyed upon by adults.
I guess. I mean, usually that happens in the family anyway. But
I don't think that's usual.
I mean,
it happens.
Most cases where it happens, yeah, it's in the family anyway.
And you don't see anything wrong with that, incest.
I think it's for each family to decide what they want to do.
Well, it's against the law.
Well, yeah, I support changing the law.
Yeah.
There was a case like that recently, Stephen Pladl, you may have heard, where he had an incestuous relationship with his daughter. Like, he had lost contact with his daughter, and then after she turned 18, they regained contact because it was a similar situation as mine, actually. And then they got charged, and they're, yeah.
Why do you think it should be okay for adults to have sex with children? Young children, right? Like, how young?
Well, I'm talking about within the context of a marriage.
You mean your own children?
Like an early marriage.
Well, you were talking about an early marriage, but you were also talking about it's okay for parents, for a father to have sex with their child.
Yeah, I mean, well, I would support legalizing incestuous marriage.
Okay. Well, look, thank you very much for talking to me. Anything else you want to say about your run for Congress?
That's about it.
All right.